who's also had events today. So it's been quite exciting, and we're happy that we are able to have Stella Ekogbulu with us today. And I would like to do a little intro on her. She's an international keynote speaker. She's a leadership and personal development coach. She delivers high energy keynote speeches, and the fact that she's here today means that we're going to be an engaged audience. She knows how to bring out the best in people through her coaching skills, and I'm very happy that she's here today. She earned her MBA in Manchester Business School in the UK, and is certified. She's a certified speaking designation from the John Maxwell team in the US. She's very passionate about women and about helping them fulfill also their potential, influencing them to break out of their comfort zone and take on, their superpower, helping them identify, what is there. She's also very passionate about young women and basically how to help them also grow, teach them also leadership skills so that they can aspire to the best that they can be. She is a speaker that has been invited all over the world. She actually used to have a career in banking before, but here she is today as a very powerful woman. And I want to say thank you very much, Stella, for being here today.
See, I watched an audition of Britain's Got Talent where a comedian came up and asked the audience, "Are you all right?" And they all screamed different answers back at her. She said, "No, you're all left." The whole hall fell silent. All the judges pressed the red beep, 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 beep. And that was the end of her audition. So I'm not going that route today. I'm sincerely asking because I want to know, how are you doing? So can you answer me in the chat? How are you doing? And believe it or not, COVID-19 has made this question very relevant. Thank you. I can see fine. I can see I'm great. Thank you very much. One of the things I started doing, during the pandemic was to start my business emails expressing my hope that the recipient is doing well. So if you're feeling okay, give me a thumbs up. If you're not feeling okay, give me a thumbs down. And it's okay not to feel okay sometimes, but it isn't okay to remain in that state. Okay, I see a thumbs up. Okay, I'm okay. Good, good, good. Now, before I get started, I have to tell you, such a honor to be with you tonight. A huge thanks to all the organizers, especially Ola and Nikes, for putting together a great tech week and for giving me the opportunity to speak to you this evening. Come on, let's give them a virtual clap. Let's give them a virtual clap for the great work they've done this week. I want to see your clap. Good, thank you, thank you, thank you. Good, good, good. Well, I'm here to speak to you, not as a tech guru or anything close to that, but as a woman like you, a sister. Chances are we've walked the same path because I spent 25 years in the corporate world. And I'm super excited to be in the midst of incredible women with greatness in them, just waiting for someone to light your spark. And I hope by the end of my talk tonight, you'd all be pumped up and ready to shine wherever you find yourselves. Today's topic is very close to my heart because in my early 20s, I wanted to be a star in the banking sector in my home country, Nigeria. I wanted to be the CEO of a bank by the time I was in my 30s. I wish I had known what I'll be sharing with you today. Perhaps the chances of fulfilling that dream would have been much higher. How can you become a star in your field? The key is to have the right attitude and invest in right relationships. So today I'll talk to you about attitude, why building the right relationship matters, and relationships, which cannot be covered in one session. I'll share with you how you can connect with me. Life gives every one of us cards What to make of them is up to us. Evening, not too long ago, we're playing a game of cards in my home. This is one of the ways we bonded during the lockdown, and we have kept it as a family pastime. My daughter taught us how to play cards in a different way, where the person with the joker at the end of the game was the automatic loser. My first instinct was to object because it was against what I knew and held as true. No way can the joker be the villain. But she insisted this was the rule for her game. So I had to suspend my knowledge and learn how to play the new card game. The most constant thing in life is change. So what I'll say today, some of what I say today, you may have heard before, or some may go against your belief system. I want to appeal to you to be open to learn, unlearn, and relearn. That's really the only way you can grow into a star. Well, during our card game, I never held the joker as my last card, even though I picked it twice, because I developed a strategy to ensure that it didn't stay with me. To be a star, you've got to have a strategy for success. Be strategic in playing the cards you're given in life. And no matter how bad they may seem, you can come up on top if you have the right strategy. One of my greatest disappointments in life came from a lack of strategy. I wanted to be the CEO of a bank in my mid-30s, like I said. I mean, that's what I told the lady who recruited me when she asked me, where do you see yourself 10 years from now? I failed in fulfilling that dream. I wanted it, but I didn't know how to go about it. Neither did I have anyone to guide me through. During our time together this evening, I encourage you to take notes and begin to conceive a strategy in your mind. Finally, before we get into the meat of today's talk, I'd like to ensure that we're on the same page. So how many of you want to be a star in your industry? Give me a thumbs up in the chat. How many of you want to be a star in your industry? I see we have 13 people already online. Okay. How many of you want to be a star? I can only see 2 people. Only 2? Okay, 3 out of 18. We have to be on the same page. Good, give me the thumbs up. Give me the thumbs up. I need your energy. Give me the thumbs up. Okay, good, great. What I'll be sharing with you today are 2 of the most vital ingredients for attaining stardom. Well, maybe stardom may not be the right word, so perhaps we'll replace it with highly successful status. Why does having the right attitude matter? Our attitude is the primary force that will determine whether we succeed or fail in life. It's such an important area in our lives, but more often than not, it is a second thought. Someone with a positive attitude will most likely become a star in their field, while someone with a negative perspective will often fall into a deep valley, unable to see through the darkness long enough to climb out of the hole. Having the right attitude matters because our attitude determines our approach to life. COVID-19 was a global pandemic. The lockdown that was imposed in several countries affected people differently. Some saw it as an opportunity, while others saw it as a restriction and punishment. Same event, different interpretations, depending on attitude. Even as we speak, some people are anticipating a resurge in the winter season, while some believe that the worst days are over. Our attitude sets up how we approach our life each and every day, and it will set up how others will approach us. Our attitude at any given time will determine what will happen to us. If you have a positive attitude, you will approach life with optimism, looking for the good in every situation. And life gives you what you demand of it, not necessarily what you deserve. I have a hard time trying to get people with a negative attitude to look at life from the bright side. They argue that by being pessimistic, they are being realistic. You know what? You and I define our reality. You can't influence what happens to you, but you can choose how you respond. Having the right attitude matters because our attitude can turn our problems into blessings. Our attitude can turn difficult times into better times if we choose the right attitude. I'm sure you've heard the story of Kabi Lane, who is now the most followed man on TikTok with 130 million followers. During the pandemic, Kabi, the son of Senegalese immigrants who lives in Italy, was laid off from his work in a factory as a fallout of the lockdown in Italy. Left in a public housing complex with his parents and siblings without an income and plenty of free time, he decided to start making short videos which he uploaded to TikTok. The interesting thing about his videos is that he doesn't even speak. Gradually, his fame grows, and so did his income. Today, his net worth has grown to over 2 million in a little over a year. Kabi could have chosen to focus on his problem and feel bitter about life, but he decided to adopt a positive attitude. We all have problems. If you agree with me, give me a thumbs up. Is there anyone who doesn't have problems? Now, here's a fact. There will always be problems in the world. Individual problems, family problems, or global problems. But if you want to be a star, you've got to adopt this mindset, which is a great quote from Sidlow Baxter. What is the difference between an obstacle and an opportunity? Our attitude towards it. Every opportunity has a difficulty, and every difficulty has an opportunity. That's a great quote. When confronted with a difficult situation, a person with a positive attitude tries to make the best of it. If you really think about it, life can be likened to a grindstone. Whether it polishes you up or grinds you down depends on what you make of it, or it depends on what you're made of. Those who possess a great attitude will prosper under adversity. One important criterion for becoming a star and remaining one is being able to overcome adversity. Having the right attitude matters because often our attitude is the only difference between success and failure. History's greatest achievements have been made by men who excelled only slightly over the masses of others in the fields. This could be called principle of slight edge. But many times that slight edge difference was attitude. A very good example is in sports. I love watching sports. And so I'm very interested in reading about sports personalities. All of the ones who have stood out have great mental attitude. Cristiano Ronaldo, Lewis Hamilton, Serena Williams, just to mention a few. Now, bringing it back home, whether you're a female entrepreneur in tech or professional, it has been proven that our outcomes in life are a direct function of our thoughts. How we think affects our attitude. If you want to become a star, you've got to begin to think differently. Now, certainly aptitude, the ability to do something, is important to our success in life, but it's not everything. Success or failure in any undertaking is caused more by mental attitude than by mere abilities. What I want you to understand is that someone might have a high IQ, but if they don't have a high AQ, that's attitude. More likely than not, they will not be able to create and maintain success in the long run. If you really look and reflect on people, you will see that there is very little difference in people. But that little difference makes a big difference. And that little difference is attitude. The big difference is whether it's positive or negative. Having the right attitude matters because our attitude at the beginning of a task will affect our outcome more than anything else. Who here has ever played organized sports, either in middle school, high school, or university? Let me see your hand. Who else? Anyone? Well, let me not say who else, because I don't play. But who has ever played organized sports? Well, me, thank you, I see you. Good. Now, what type of message would the coaches try to seed into your mind before a big game? Was it one that was positive and motivating, or was it one that got you to question your ability to succeed? I want to see your answer. What would the coaches seed in your mind before a big game? Is it a positive, motivating one? Motivating, okay, thank you. See, coaches understand the importance of their teams having the right attitude before facing a top opponent. Surgeons want to see their patients mentally prepared before going into surgery. Job seekers know that the prospective employer is looking for more than just skills when they apply for a job. Why? Because the attitude in the beginning ensures success at the end. Now, for 3 years prior to COVID-19, I used to organize a summer camp for teenagers in the mountains of Switzerland. We tried to make it as comprehensive as possible. And one of the highlights was hiking. So we asked the officials at the resort to recommend a hiking route to us. It was quite an adventurous one through the forest. After walking for a few hours, we got to a suspended bridge, which was 92 meters above the ground, and it was a windy day, so the bridge was swaying. Most of the teenagers were excited at the prospect of crossing, but one of them, and the leaders and myself, were scared of heights. This was the only route back to the camp using our map. We didn't have much of a choice. I knew our attitude would be very important if we were to cross the bridge in one piece. Suddenly, it occurred to me that if we were to overcome this obstacle, I needed to get everyone into the right frame of mind, including myself. There was an ice cream parlor close to the foot of the bridge. I thought, what a good idea to pump up our energy and prepare us for the task ahead. So we sat down, had some ice cream, posed for pictures at the foot of the bridge, and then we shouted, "We can do it!" Honestly, by this time, I was ready to do it. I must say, I'm so scared of heights. When I swing, I don't even go high. So here I was leading people to cross a bridge. But I had to push my fears to the background and come up with a strategy. I let the excited ones go first, and then I went next, holding firmly the hand of the teen who was scared, looking straight ahead because I couldn't bear to see, the sight. So I was looking straight ahead, and I was just muttering some affirmations the entire time. Was I relieved when we got to the other side. Would I try it again? I doubt it. But I made it across without a heart attack. For me, that was a mean feat. Our attitude as a group at the beginning saw us through and gave us our desired outcome. I bet you're all acquainted with the saying, all's well that ends well, correct? It's equally true to say all's well that begins well. Do you know that most projects fail or succeed before they ever even begin? The confident person increases her chances of success. Now, how can you develop the attitude that will allow you win every time and in every situation? Before I go into the steps, I want to take a pause here and clear the air on a common mistake people make, which is to believe that their attitude is set. That's not true. The attitudes you have right now at this particular time are personally chosen. If you agree with me, give me a thumbs up. If you agree with me that the attitudes that you have right now are personally chosen, give me a thumbs up in the chat. Okay, good, thank you. Yes, the attitude you have right now at this particular time are personally chosen. However, I run into people all the time that don't buy that. They believe the attitude they have is because of a job they don't like, or the place they have to live, or the car they have to drive. They blame their attitude on something or someone else. But you have to realize that the only person that can make you happy is you. Happiness is not out there. It's not something you reach by gaining something. It's within yourself. Your attitude is your choice. And the first key to success is to choose an attitude that is conducive for your success. And then don't allow others to control or create a different attitude. Some people may not be conscious of the impact their attitude has on their professional and personal lives. I personally got to understand myself better and appreciate the way I act, especially when I'm under situations that don't serve me well. And that happened when I took the Maxwell DISC personality assessment. Do you know that people are motivated differently and prefer to be communicated to depending on their behavioral styles? If you want to be a star, you've got to increase your self-awareness, know yourself better than anyone else, so that you can work on the areas that need to be changed and enhanced in order to position you for the greatness you seek. If you take responsibility for your attitude, I tell you, you can change it. Let's get into how you can change it, shall we? Number one, evaluate your present attitude. That's a starting point. Ask yourself questions like, how do I see life? Full of hope or all gloomy? When something happens, what's the first thought that comes to me? How do I respond to failure? Take an inventory of what is wrong and needs to be changed or improved on. Write them down. Don't store it in your head. There are too many things that go through our head. Write them down. Then write down the attitude that you think should replace them. I'll give you an example. It could be, whenever someone criticizes me, I lose my self-confidence. That's my present attitude. It's an example. That's not me. So the replacement would be, whenever someone criticizes me, I will reflect on what has been spoken to see if it's valid, make corrections. If I don't think the criticism is subjective, I'll ignore it. Then you need to come up with a plan on how to fix the wrong attitudes. So if, for example, if you feel you have issues with self-confidence, criticism, then come up with a plan. And I suggest you take them one after the other. See, if you try to change everything at once, you end up frustrated and give up. I needed a coach to help me change my attitude. And I would recommend you get one, but if you can work on them yourself, then that's perfect. But get someone to hold you accountable. There was someone who approached me, and after taking the personality assessment, became aware of the challenges in self-confidence, dealing with criticism and stress was holding this person back from changing to their dream job. After 6 months of working together, the person was not only able to overcome those issues, but the career switch. So number two, change your thoughts pattern. There's some things in life which you cannot change, like our parents, our race, where we were born. But attitude isn't one of them. Attitude is something you can. And it's interesting to know that you can think your way to success or failure. Stop thinking thoughts of defeat. Don't hold a mental picture of difficulties and failures. Rather, visualize achievement and success. See yourself succeeding at whatever you want. See yourself as never giving up. There's a story I love in the bestseller, Think and Grow Rich. It's called The Story of Barnes, the man who fought his way into partnership with Thomas Edison, the great inventor. See, Barnes had his mind set on becoming the business partner of Edison. He was ready to pay any price to achieve his goal. From taking a freight train to Orange County because he couldn't afford the fare for a regular train, to doing odd jobs at Edison's office so he could be in the vicinity until he had his opportunity. The story was told that Barnes always saw himself as Edison's partner and never as an employee, even though he started off as one. He occupied his mind with the thought that he would become Edison's partner. And these consuming thoughts, combined with hard work and intuition, saw his dream come true. What are your dreams, and what price are you willing to pay to birth them? Food for thought. Number three, continually choose to have a right attitude. Remember, attitude is a choice. Choose to speak and act positively at all times. Guess what? When you take a positive life stance, bad incidents don't turn out as bad as they would. And you have a better chance at succeeding in life. Number four, change your attitude towards obstacles. When you're faced with an obstacle, stand up to it. Don't complain or whine about it. Do something about it. See an obstacle for what it is, an obstacle. Don't consider it to be a terminal point in your progress. If, for example, you set a career goal to become a C-suite executive in 5 years, and then you have a boss who is stalling your promotion, instead of grumbling or complaining, think of how you can overcome that obstacle in order to achieve your goal. Dear ladies, don't go crawling through life half defeated. There's too much potential in you to be stopped by an obstacle. Can you type for me in the chat? There's too much potential in me to be stopped by an obstacle. Type it. Come on, ladies, let's type it. You know, it's a declaration you're making. There's too much potential in me to be stopped by any obstacle. I don't see you typing yet. There's too much potential in me to be stopped by any obstacle. Anyone typing? Good. There's too much potential in me to be stopped by any obstacle. Yep. There's too much potential in me. Good, good, good. Yes. We're making declarations. We're framing this. Thank you. Yes, I can see. Good. Personally, I don't believe in impossibilities. There are way too many people who give up at the slightest of obstacle and end up wondering what their lives would be like if they hadn't given up. Don't be like one of them. So we've spoken about attitudes. Let's talk about relationships. Why does building the right relationships matter? We can't make it without people. Everything in your life is impacted by your relationship with people. Yet, establishing relationships is difficult. Relationships are the glue that holds team members together. Just about everything you do depends on teamwork. You have to understand that you cannot be consistently successful without the help of other people. It's essential to build proper relationships with others in this very crowded world of ours. Stanford Research Institute says that the money you make in any endeavor is determined by 12.5% of your knowledge and 87.5% your ability to deal with people. It is of time, energy, and emotions. And like every good investment, it will yield results. Your success depends on your relationships in life. The people you have in your inner circle will determine how far you go in life. So if you want to be a star, going forward, you've got to seek out successful people and get close to them. Be intentional about seeking them out. Don't wait for the people to come to you. Be proactive in taking the first step. I mean, for example, when you're making your plans for the week, also plan where and whom you'll be having lunch with during the week. We need people. We're not created to operate in isolation. It isn't even healthy to be a lone ranger. I know that some people who believe that if you want to succeed, they should do it alone. That's not true. It's a very wrong notion. Even the bad relationships in your lives are there to mold your character and teach you valuable life lessons. Most people can trace their successes or failures to the relationships they have in their lives. So if you surround yourself with losers, you'll always look at life from a loser's perspective. Now, what does it take to build strategic relationships? Number one, respect. Here's an interesting quote from Liz Gibling. It says, you can't make another fellow feel important in your presence if you secretly feel that he's a nobody. Respect is something you show to others even before they have done anything to warrant it. When you respect people, you value them and have faith in them. Most people will do anything to live up to your faith in them. People rise or fall to meet your level of expectations for them. In building relationships, respect people's views. They don't have to think the way you think or have the same values as yourself, and that's okay. Respect them anyway. Some of us have very radical views and we choose not to be flexible because we strongly believe our views to be right or superior. I tell you what, that may be hindering you from building relationships. Extend a hand and build a bridge that will help you add value and move upwards. Have a positive attitude about people. If you have a positive attitude about people, believe the best of them and act on your beliefs, then you can win them over as friends, sponsors, or mentors. Put a score of 10 on everyone you meet. Consider them to be the best and treat them as such. They will feel you value them. They will feel it. They will feel the value you put on them. And it will become easy to get them to do whatever you want. Your attitude towards people is one of the most important choices you have to make. And it is a choice. You may not be able to influence how people treat you, but how you treat them is within your control. To make an impact on others, find what people want and help them get it. Now, number 4, understand people. Understand people. This is very important. The ability to understand people is one of the greatest assets anyone can ever have. What most people want is to be listened to, respected, and understood. But how many actually get their wish? If you want to be a star, you've got to seek to understand people. Let's consider a few things that will help you understand people. Everyone wants to be somebody, to be significant, to be regarded highly by others. So if you treat everybody, every person you meet as if they are the most important person in the world, you'll communicate that he or she is somebody to you. And if you can keep this in mind, it will give you insight into why people do the things that they do. For example, the cleaner in your office wants to be known by their name and not by the appellation of cleaner. Nobody cares how much you know until he knows how much you care. Nobody cares how much you know until he knows how much you care. When you meet people, the question at the back of their minds is, does this person care for me? To become a star in your industry, you've got to care for those above you, your peers, and those below you. See, many people make the mistake of thinking that it only matters for them to have a good relationship with their boss or their decision makers within the organization. And so they build these relationships. Do you know that the tea lady in your office who's worked there forever can have some valuable information for you? You may also be a high flyer, but your team member could sabotage your efforts if they perceive you in bad light. People can be your greatest asset as well as your greatest liabilities. Everybody needs somebody, contrary to popular belief. That there is no such thing as self-made men and women. Everyone needs friendship, encouragement, and help. What people can accomplish by themselves is almost nothing compared to their potential when working with others. We're not created to exist in isolation. When you appreciate this fact, you will seek to understand your colleagues and clients because they need you just as much as you need them. Those below you are equally important as those above you if you want to climb to the top. The ability to understand people is a choice, just like attitude. It's true that some people are born with great instincts that helps them understand people, so it comes more easily to them. But we are all capable of having the ability to understand, motivate, and ultimately influence others if we choose to make an effort. Connect with people. Everyone can communicate, but only a few can connect with people. When you talk to them, establishing connections is fundamental to building strong relationships. It breaks barriers. Don't worry if you're not a good communicator, that's fine. But through established and learnable principles, you can connect with people one-on-one, in a group, or an audience. Being able to communicate is more of a skill than a talent. Now, finally, be a problem solver. A problem solver adds value. The easiest way to make an impact in an organization or in an industry and be remembered is to solve a problem. Think about it. You remain in contact with the people who have solved major problems in your life. And if you've lost contact with them, they remain in your memory. I remember the names of the nannies who took care of my kids when they were babies. I lost contact with them because we relocated, but I still remember them because they solved the problem of taking care of my kids so I could work as a working mom. If you want your business to grow as an entrepreneur, design products and services that solve people's problems. Offer value-adding services and you will attract the right people. Now, how many of us still want to be stars in our fields? Can I see your thumbs? Can I see your hand or your thumbs up? How many of us still want to be stars in our fields? Okay, I see one person, only one person. Okay, me. Okay, good. How many believe they can be stars? Give me your thumbs up. How many believe they can be stars? Good. I can see we're 18. I can only see a few. How many are ready to put in the shift to make it happen? Oh, I love that. Both hands up. Yeah. How many are ready to put in the shift to make it happen? Thumbs up. Everyone, 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 everyone. Yeah. Great. So now I want you to do one thing for me before I take questions. Share in the chat one thing that you're taking away from today's talk. What's one thing that I said that registers to you? While I'm just going to wrap up. Give some time to type. I need people who build relationships through respect. Thank you. Attitude is a game changer. Don't be discouraged by obstacles. I love that. I love it. I love it. Attitude is a game changer, okay? Building relationships at all levels. Great. Thank you. Positive attitude. Thank you. Good, good, good. Okay. Thank you for sharing your great insight. Audit my relationships. Absolutely. I can see you're all pumped up. I have immense potential and need to use it to progress. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. I can see you're all pumped up. That's great. That's great. That's great. Brilliant, 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 brilliant. Thank you. So I need to say something though. Change is a process and it doesn't happen by attending one event. What I hope I've done this evening is to ignite the fire in you. Now, what you need to do for me is to take the next step of increasing the flame and ensuring that the fire doesn't go off. You know, like the Olympics flame, they make sure it doesn't go off. It goes around so many countries and so many climates, but it doesn't go off. So I need you to go away from here today. I hope I've ignited the fire. Take the fire, increase the flame, don't let it go off. I'm sharing with you a form on how you can stay connected with me and how I can help you if you need any help. So I'm going to hand over to the panelists to share with to take us through the questions section.
Thank you very much, Stella. Oh yeah, there were a number of takeaways there. That attitude thing, sometimes I feel that maybe it's a natural, you don't really think about it, but you're already in it. And I think the challenge also is, you know, when you say the relationship with people, even the people you don't like, that's a hard one, especially people that you know that maybe they're not necessarily evil, but you know of their character and you still have to work with them. And it seems like you're trying to fake a relationship so that you can just stay focused on the picture. It's not always so easy. So I would like to ask people, you can either unmute yourself if you can, or put a question in the chat for Stella, and she will take your questions or your comments.
While we're waiting for the question, I just want to say something based on what you just said, Ola. And that's so great. You know, many times we say we want to have relationships with people that like us. But you know what? Strategic relationships. That's the key word, strategic. It's not about those who like you or those whom you like. It's about those who you need. So if you have that mindset that I need this person, I've got to like this person anyhow. I've got to get on with this person. I've got to build a relationship with this person. Then that will help us to build strategic relationships.
Yeah,
Especially as women.
emotion still gets in the way sometimes, because sometimes you're if you're a very expressive person, then it is a fight between your attitude and how you feel towards that person and having to work with them.
Yeah, I know. But you see, the thing with being a star, first of all, out of 100%, like only about 20 or even less, maybe 2% actually become stars. So if you want to be a star, you've got to do things that you don't like to do. You've got to do things that other people don't do, or other people are not willing to do. So you've got to be able to put your emotions at the back, and say, look, I have a goal. I want to be a star. If this person is going to help me, so be it.
Okay, there's a lot to learn, a lot to take, a lot to take, Greed. So everybody in the chat, I see there's a question. So Rain says, I find it easier to build relationships once you meet people face to face. With the virtual work life, it has become much difficult. Have you noticed the same? And if yes, what are some of the ways to tackle that?
That's a very great question. And that's the way forward in the world, really. It's we just have to find a way of building relationships with people virtually. And it's easier to make eye contact with people when you're with them and you see their emotions. So what I do is that when I'm talking to somebody over Zoom, I try to look through the mirror and through the camera and smile and try and pretend that the person is behind the camera. So you need to first of all have that mindset. We're talking about mindset now. You tell yourself, look, this person is behind the camera there. Let me connect to this person. And that's where it's important to consider yourself saying, I need to connect with somebody. I don't just need to communicate, I need to connect. So you ask yourself, how can I connect? Okay, if the person was in the room, this is what I would do. Now the person isn't in the room, what can I do? So once you come to that realization that, look, I need to find a way, then you begin to think about it. And so you smile into the camera and you imagine, you visualize yourself talking to the person in front of you and trying to be able to make a connection. You just have to learn how to do it, right? Because this is the new normal.
It's a new crazy normal. Mm-hmm. I think we've spent more time behind cameras this past year and a half, I would say, and actually getting used to it. It's still, so my camera's here and my screen is here, and where am I staring? Oh, she's over there and I'm staring there. Yeah, so fun times.
I know.
So I have a comment here from Lavinia. She says, Stella's presentation was very engaging. I would need advice on discipline and persistence to perform at a high level constantly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lavinia. Lavinia is a client of mine. So thank you so much, Lavinia, for joining. Okay. So you need discipline and persistence. Right?
Persistence, yes.
Okay, so discipline and persistence, very interesting. I think they go hand in hand, first of all. Now, discipline is giving yourself instructions and forcing yourself to follow through on them. I'm just going to share my personal story and see how that will help Lavinia, right? So I wanted to lose weight, right? And it had to do with the health condition. Part of it had to do with the health condition. And I had to tell myself something that I couldn't eat anymore. It was tough. I tried that and it worked for me. But then the exercise one became a real issue for me because I hate exercising. But then I had to get myself to the position of saying, what's my why? So if you want to discipline yourself, you need to ask yourself, what's your why? Why am I doing what I want to do? Why do I want to be a star? And if you don't have a strong why, it's going to be difficult to discipline yourself to do anything. So what I mean by what's my why is what's your reason? So for example, okay, I want to become a CEO because I want to feel happy with myself. That's not a strong reason. So you're not going to discipline yourself. But if you say I want to be a CEO so that I could have enough money to support charities around the world and help solve maybe hunger in the world or something, that's a strong reason. So what will you do? You're going to discipline yourself to do what you need to do, even when you don't feel like doing it. It's just like the athletes. You see them, they go running when it's cold, when it's hot, it doesn't matter. They have to do it. They've disciplined themselves. And then persistent is saying, I'll never give up. And again, it's ties to your why. So if your goal is strong, why the reason why you want to do something is strong, it's going to keep motivating, it's going to wake you up. So for example, I'm actually away from my home now, and I have a treadmill at home where I exercise every morning. But today I didn't have a treadmill where I was. And you know what? I said to myself, I still need to continue my exercising. So I just ran around the room for 15 minutes, you know. So I decided to persist because I'm thinking of the why. You know? I didn't even answer Lavina's question.
Lavinia, let us know if your question was answered in the chat or if you can unmute yourself. Oh, she says yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lavinia. I see there's someone's hand up. I see Afolake's hand is up.
Yes. Maybe you can unmute yourself, or maybe you can just put your question in the chat if you have one. Or maybe it was by mistake that the hand was up.
Okay.
Okay, does anybody have any other question in the meantime? Let us know. Stella's here. Just let's maximize and take advantage of that. So
if they don't have a question, okay, I see Afolake is typing something. That means we should not allow environmental conditions to tamper with our goals. Absolutely nothing, ladies, nothing should tamper with your goal. Nope, nothing. Environmental, health, whatever it is, you know, be so consumed with your goal, you know, and don't allow anything. Because you see, it's your goal. It's not anyone else's goal. If you allow something to tamper with it, then who's going to help you achieve it? Right? It's important. If you don't have a question, I'm going to have a question for you ladies before we go. Maybe my question for you is, what are you going to do from tomorrow to help you achieve your desire to be a star in your field? What are you going to do from tomorrow? One thing. And I'm going to tell you why I'm asking that question, because sometimes if we don't act immediately after learning, we kind of get back into the normal. So you've heard me speak today. What are you going to do from tomorrow? Just one thing. Okay, I'll begin to build on my relationships. Thank you. Review my attitude. Okay. I will define my why clearly and strongly. Thank you. I'll continue being persistent. Thank you. First, I'm auditing my relations. Great, which to keep, absolutely. And I'm going to help you, Mercy. So use red, amber, and green. Red is the relationships you need to get rid of. Amber is the ones that, I'm not so sure, I'm going to consider it again. And then green is the one you must cherish. That's the strategic one. Great. Okay. Over to you, Ola.
Thank you very much. If no longer has any questions, I want to thank Stella very much for being with us here today. We're very happy that at least the last 3 days for our Women in Tech Week for Germany and Ireland has been successful. We had speakers that have taught us so much and leave us with quite a bit of food for thought. So Stella, you will always be welcome in Women in Tech Africa. We look forward to having you again. I would like to say thank you to all of our participants who took part. I hope that you were also able to take something so you can, jumpstart that, the nuggets that you have picked up today. And on behalf of myself, Women in Tech Africa, and Nikes, can you turn on your camera? On behalf of myself and Nikes, we are both partners in crime. We thank you very much for being here today and wish you a very good evening.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.